Nick, tell us a little bit about your business, how it started, the story behind it. You've got a 12-year-old website here, Atlantic Marine Inc. So I'd love to understand, the history behind it and why you're looking to sell.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me here. One of the things I really thought that was exciting was that the website had originated 12 years ago and that the original owners still had it. So that was in May 2020 when we purchased it from them. The exciting thing again was that it was totally organic based traffic. So the gentleman who owned it was a little bit older. He owned a boat marina, and so that's how he got into selling this LED lighting for boats, because he did the installation there. But he had that basically as just supplemental income for him. Didn't really care about any advertising in the Google advertising, Facebook advertising. Didn't even bother with it because it was he was just anything extra he was getting from it was just a bonus for him. So we thought that was a really cool opportunity. But also that gave the website has a really strong base because of that. So the amount of traffic it gets organically and the amount of sales really has a floor if you look at the past 12 years. So we don't have to worry about what happens if new competitors start jumping in the market, and what happens if this is just a trendy product that goes out of style. For this business, it's really, like I said, just there's the competition that's there is already there, and there's not a whole lot. And the products aren't trendy. There's the necessity for people upgrading every year. People go through these upgrade cycles to upgrade from traditional lighting to LED lighting, and this is just a mainstay for anyone who's looking to upgrade on their boat. They're going to be looking for one of these lights.
Yeah, so a pretty good product, that people will come back and purchase over again, and it's within a niche. So that's always
it is definitely a niche. That's for sure. Like I said, there's not a ton of competition. There's only a handful of manufacturers, and these lights are from manufacturers. 80% is from one manufacturer who is non-competitive in e-commerce. They've told us even directly, we don't care about e-commerce. Again, it's just extra for them. They primarily deal with the manufacturers, boat manufacturers. So it's even better because they're not selling on Amazon and eBay against your, they have a basic website where they do have sales because people might buy these and then refer back to that part number and have to go buy replacement parts, things like that. But they're very non-competitive against us. And also the main thing is they're very quality oriented from the main manufacturer, made in USA or made in Germany for just about all their parts. So it's very quality, construction on these items. And again, something that people with these 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 foot boats generally want something of, good quality that's going to last for, at least a decade. As well as there is one supplier who deals with the made in China items. So we do have, for less expensive LEDs, that is someone we have a supplier for as well.
Yeah. And so why are you looking to sell at this stage, Nick?
Great question. So we purchased during COVID, and I have a retail business. You can see here, I work with dogs, actually at a dog daycare. That's my venture I've had for several years now. After getting out of a prior e-commerce company, I exited very nicely to a private equity firm. I had a very, very stringent non-compete contract, so didn't allow me to anywhere back in the e-commerce space because they competed in several categories. So I got into retail storefront, something totally different. During COVID, we shut down for a few months. It was a very scary time, and I started to think, well, what's the world going to look like after this? Maybe I need to really look at diversifying again. My compete had ended, non-compete had ended, and I wanted something else to possibly be growing. I had a cousin who was in this, does website freelancing, so had been doing different things. With websites, some building, some editing, some graphic design stuff for about 4 or 5 years. And I thought maybe it'd be a good opportunity to give him something to grow on. And we went in as a 90% myself, 10% partnership from him. And he would earn up to 50% of the business if it grew. We after we acquired it, um, we reopened our physical store here, and it was kind of the opposite of what we thought. Things took off like wildfire because everyone got a puppy during COVID.
Yes, yes.
So it is crazy. So we see routinely 150 dogs a day here. We're currently in the process of signing a lease and opening another location. We're expanding. So I'm over the top busy. I don't have time to run the site. Unfortunately, the partnership didn't work out in the sense that my cousin, who's a freelancer, does great when someone gives him directions constantly, like they do on the freelance website. Edit this box, change this graphic, do this. But it turned out just not to be something he could figure out how to grow himself like I hoped. So he tried to look at Google advertising, couldn't figure it out. The Facebook advertising, we didn't even start with. Expanding to Amazon, we opened an Amazon account and listed a few items, but he hit a wall there. So he wasn't ready for it, unfortunately. And I'm servicing it now myself. The contract gives me the ability to buy him out, and he's moving on, taking everything. And it's cool because it'll 2 to 3 hours a week. Because with this, you're dealing with people, on average buying, I think the average sale ticket's around $300, but most of the orders, you have a few small orders, $20, $30, but most of them are several $100, $500, $600, $800. So you only have maybe 20, 25 orders for that month to service. You don't have 500 $10 orders to service, which is hours of packaging, hours of customer service, updates, things like that. So I can maintain it myself for about 3 hours a week of work while I still do all this here. So I thought that, if someone really has more time to put in it, there's several ways to grow it. And I've got a whole, map for those people if they want to contact me.
Perfect. And so just looking at kind of the performance overview of the last 12 months, there's been a pretty sharp increase over the last couple of months of profit brought in. Can you kind of describe to the people watching this what you did or why there has been a sharp increase there?
Yeah, and so that that increase is still, so everything's well within line of looking at, we can show everyone the 12-year history for the sales, and really the floor is about 55,000 yearly. And then the peak year was a little over 100,000, which is when we had bought it. But, because people are spending, some people, there was I think a $2,500 order last month and a couple around that range. So there's people spending larger amounts. They have some questions prior to make sure these things will fit. They'll send emails out to us. So those weren't properly being serviced. But by answering some basic questions through email and giving people, the feeling that they got some support after they buy it, they'll make that larger purchase. So the prior few months, there might not have been a whole lot of service, which is probably the cause of that, downturn. But now that I'm, like I said, doing this myself, I'm getting those emails out quickly. And the nice thing is any question you get, we could just forward to the manufacturer and they respond for you basically. So they give us the answer we need, pass it back to the customer, if it's something I don't know. And they said, they're happy to make the purchase then. So on the bigger ticket items like that, again, some order, we had one for $5,000 that, they might have a few questions, basic things prior, just they want to double check before they make that order. Because it's like remodeling a house. They're doing the same thing, but on their boat, and they want to make sure these fixtures are going to fit and they have the right voltage, just some basic stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And, it sounds like it's pretty small changes that are going to lead to pretty big results, which is, that's fantastic for buyers to hear. You've got a very well built out listing. It is, very thorough with information. Is there anything on the listing that you maybe would like to express here or explain further here?
Yeah, I think obviously everyone is interested about opportunities for growth. So to start with that, I think some of the basic things to do are expanding the offerings on the site. There's several items from our vendors that aren't even listed, as well as the basics, just getting these on on Google, both for advertising, but also like the Google shopping. So they show up when someone searches. So, very basic now, but it's very competitive. You need to have that. Facebook advertising, again, larger ticket items, you have a margin to spend some, because people are buying 8 or 10 of these things, just spending $1,200, $1,500, you have some margin there. So doing some directed Facebook campaigns, that would be fantastic. I think the results would be great, easy to kind of, find these people. It's a specific kind of niche we're looking for. So I think you can really target well and get some great results. As well as just, looking at our competitor websites, you can see there's a couple categories they've expanded into, and simply by kind of mimicking what some of our competitors are doing and maybe expanding a couple manufacturers, there's some real easy low hanging fruit there, obviously, too. So just doing a good firm update, shop the competition and doing some updates on the website itself. And then there's, of course, on top of that, the third party marketplaces like Amazon, eBay, and Walmart. If you get listed on there, again, there's the manufacturers aren't selling on there, and there's not much competition. Even these other websites really don't have much of a presence on any of those. So some, very low hanging fruits to start with, I think.
Yeah, like we kind of just mentioned, some small changes and you should see big results. So
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Well, we appreciate your time, Nick. We're expecting Atlantic Marine Inc. to go very quickly, being a niche, being reasonably priced, the 37% profit margin, 12-year site. So it's a very desired site, and I believe it's going to go quickly. So very excited.
Thank you. Yeah, we've had at least a dozen people contact us already. So there's a lot of interest. I think it's because it is lower maintenance, lower risk. We're not spending on all the advertising like so many other people, and it's not a trendy product. So it's the stability, I think, is what's getting a lot of people. And then it's just finding the right person, to grow it. So happy to have a call with anybody. I'll give you the full layout of what needs to be done and what's been going on the past couple of years. Be happy to talk to anyone more.
Fantastic. We'll appreciate your time, Nick. Good luck with it, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you very much.